Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Crowley House Flower Farm and Nursery. Today, I am going to be working on the front planter pot here up at the Orchard Heights house. This is one that I started on last week's video. If you missed that, that's last Sunday. But I didn't love how it was turning out. I needed a little bit more oomph, and what I'm trying to do is kind of this winter garden inspired design, mainly for the holidays, but also to carry me through until Valentine's Day, when we're going to be adding in things like pansies and primroses and things like that with a little bit more color. So I thought I would take you along as I style that up, give it a little more, I don't know, zhuzh it up, I guess, a little bit more winterfied. So the other day, I ended up going to, we have a wholesale market, and they had this beautiful, it's called an azara, I guess, and it's a variegated azara. It's a beautiful kind of a weeping evergreen tree that almost has a leaf similar to a boxwood. It gets at the height about 15 feet tall, and it only gets about, I think it's about 4 feet wide. So every once in a while in our climate, so we're in a zone 8B, somewhere in there. And if we get a really hard frost, then some of the leaves might have a little bit of frost damage, but then it will replenish and be beautiful in time. So I picked it up. I am absolutely loving this. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. But I just kind of tucked it up here on the porch as the porch design keeps growing. But I'm going to put it out in the garden. But for now, I thought, oh, it's just such a beautiful specimen. I thought I would show you. Has nothing to do with my winter planting pot, but it does have something to do with my winter design here at the Orchard Heights house. So these are a couple things that I picked up. This is from Target. And so they're just an LED string light, and I thought they were kind of fun. They were like little stars, so we'll get those out of the box and take a closer look. At Wilco, I found just these beautiful narcissus love call, which is really fun. There's 12 bulbs in here, so I thought to add those in really quickly. They were 50% off, so really good deal on that one. And then I have a couple of these, but I grabbed one more, and this is just a string light that I'm going to put in that's LED as well. So we'll see. It says 17 feet, 50 LED lights. I don't know. We'll see how it all turns out. So back in the 1951, when this house was built, it was kind of popular back then to have kind of these, gardens or these brick kind of planter boxes that were incorporated into the home design. And so this house has one. And sometimes it's a challenge to be able to kind of come up with combinations of putting things in this. And eventually I have plans to redo the brick and just make it a little bit more modern along with the front porch. I was going to brick it, maybe do like a herringbone pattern or something like that on the porch itself, and then the stone, redoing the stone just in the normal style. But then that also means that you're redoing the brick on the fireplace up above the house, on the roof line. So there's a lot to it, and I'm just not sure how that's all going to play out. And obviously it costs a lot of money to do those things. So we will take those projects as they come. For now, this little guy here, so this planter box is, I would say, about 15 feet long or so. So it's a good space. It does get morning sun and afternoon shade. So it's a little bit tricky to design, plants and things like that. So it'll be a little bit of a challenge for me going forward to fill this box and make it look really pretty, but it will also be a really fun project every single season. So this season, what I'm planning to do is just continue on with that winter garden design that I have going. And I'll be adding in more things as they're available in the stores, but right now there's nothing really except for the bulbs that I picked up. So I thought I would tuck some bulbs in down deep, and then I will be putting in some pansies and primroses around those areas as the stores get them or the nursery gets them. What I did do last week I felt was a little bit skimpy, and I think Braden will pop a video up here. So as you can tell in this one, it looks nice, but I felt like it needed just a little bit more of a oomph to it. So what I ended up doing is grabbing a tree. My friend down in Eugene has Charles Little and Company, and they do fabulous products. And she had some really really, really fun trees in her farm stand, and I saw one of them. It's a Carolina sapphire cypress, and so it's kind of got a blue hint to it, and I feel like that blue against this house color works really, really well. It's almost like a dusty blue. Now, I did have a smaller tree, which you can see behind me, in the pot, and it looked fine. It just, to scale, wasn't super great. So I'm liking how big this other cypress is, and I'm gonna pop that in and rework this and just have you tag along with me, and I think it's gonna turn out really kind of fun. So I've got to first get the bed cleaned up a little bit. We had a freeze, and so some of the things are dead, and I just need to cut them back and get them cleaned up, get those bulbs planted, and then go ahead and put my new cypress in the pot. Hopefully it will stay. Get the other one placed, and which is the juniper, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of lights and some pine cones. That's my plan. That's all I'm doing. Okay, here we go. Now I do have a few bulbs that are just scattered in here as well, some crocuses and things like that. And you can actually see them kind of poking their heads up when I was rustling the soil around. They were needing a little bit of light. So this is actually kind of good that I'm cleaning this up and just leaving it kind of bare. I'm just gonna plant these down in. It says to do, so there's 12 bulbs, so I'm gonna do 6 bulbs on each side since I have other bulbs in here. So we're gonna be planting this about 5 inches below the surface, this little bulb here. So we'll just make a few 6 little holes and pop them in. Thankfully, the soil is very, very loose, so you just dig right in with your hand, not a problem. Put 6 more over here. I'm borrowing my husband's mechanic gloves. Part of the problem with having 2 farms is that I take my gloves sometimes and they go between the 2 places, even though I have a ton of gloves at Crowley house. Here at the Orchard Heights place, sometimes I'll take the gloves that are supposed to stay here with me by accident because I'm just so used to always having them. You'll never know. Okay, so I'm gonna get these in the ground. Okay, so I went ahead and took out the little, it's like a juniper. I forget the name of it. If I remember, I'll pop it here for you guys. It's really, really pretty, and it's more of a compact juniper, which I'm starting to fall in love with evergreens this holiday season, the more that I'm learning about different ones. And the space up here at the Orchard Heights house has room for a lot of evergreens and has a lot of evergreens on the property as well. I don't know, you might see me start planting more and more of those. So I'm gonna take this guy, and I'm thinking what I'm gonna do, he's pretty big and I need a little bit more of a trunk on it to fit it into the little planter box. So I think I'm just gonna take some heavy duty clippers and clip off some of the bottom and then add it in along this little winter planting box, and just kind of bringing those colors all the way through. Oh, I was gonna show you guys, this is really kind of cool. So we bought Queen Tut from Proven Winners, and we've had some pretty cold days. We got 3 of them. We put some at the Crowley house as well, but we have 3 of them here in this little planter box. And as you can tell, it's kind of up against this house, and it's very shaded, and it's very like sheltered from the harshness of the winter. But this, I thought for some reason they died hard. But for us, they are just living their best life. They look amazing still. So I'm gonna leave them in until they look not so great anymore. But what I love about them is they kind of give this space a little bit of air movement, almost like a grass would. So I'm gonna keep it for now. So I'm just making a little hole where I want it to go. It's gonna make it a little bit easier. Okay, well that was a little bit of work to get it in there. I really had to push it in because if we get a windstorm or anything like that, I also have a stake that I put behind that I'm gonna tie on just to make sure it stays put. But this should last all winter until I'm ready to style this for the early spring. But I thought I would just take a few pine cones and pop them through before I add all the lights. Okay, so I have my little bits left over, and I think what I'm gonna do is actually lay them down. There's a piece of plyboard down covering the oil tank, and I don't love it, so I gotta find another something to put down or paint it or something. If you have any suggestions, pop them down below. I'd love to hear from you. So I'm just gonna lay these through almost like a garland, I'm thinking, and I think that would look kind of cute, but we'll have to step back and see what we think. Just kind of hiding the plyboard. I have 2 strands of these lights, and they're just battery operated. They do actually really well outside. I have several of them out. So this I just grabbed from my stash of lights, and I thought I would pop them in. I think for now, this little empty space where I have the daffodils, I'm just gonna leave empty. And I might put some moss down. I have some moss back at the other farm, but we'll see. I don't know. I kind of want that fresh greenery to kind of come through. Also, I want some space to put in more of the spring flowers. Or, you know, cyclamen would be really pretty. I do have some of those that I thought would be kind of fun to pop in there. So I'm gonna leave them for now until January, and then I'll pop something in them. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of figure out where I'm gonna put this light source here. So Braden and I were struggling a little bit just because I only had one of these strings and I really like it. So what we're gonna do is, there was a little bit of this little battery operated string light that we're just gonna weave through this little tree. I think it's gonna look okay. I'm trying to like make it stretch. We'll see how it turns out. Okay, so I'm almost finished. I am getting really hungry, so I'm going to go inside, and I thought I would take you along. Jason made a beautiful turkey for Thanksgiving, and we held back some of the turkey. Of course, there's always leftovers. Threw it in the freezer, and I'm pulling it out today for lunch. So what I'm making is actually a toasted cranberry slider, and it's on a cranberry bun, and I'll show you what those are. And they, I'm just gonna put a little bit of cream cheese, a little bit of cranberry sauce. This is homemade cranberry sauce, just a little bit of greenery, and the leftover turkey. Thought you would enjoy that. So here it is. quick little slider. I love these for lunch, and it's a great way to use leftover turkey right after Thanksgiving or even the holidays. And because this turkey had so much flavor from the way that Jason made it, it was delicious and it should not go to waste. So I thought this would be a fun way to use up the turkey and make these really fun little sliders. So I went ahead and toasted the buns, and then I have a little bit of cream cheese, a little bit of our leftover homemade cranberry sauce, the turkey, and then just some greens. And this is super, super simple for a quick lunch. And these would even be great if to take it to a party or something like that. So I'm just gonna start with my toasted halves, and they're still a little bit warm. So I'm gonna add my cream cheese. Add just a little dollop. You don't need much of your cranberry sauce. And then just a couple slices, however you like. Some people like a ton of meat. I just like a little bit, but this is just the turkey that we're gonna be adding in. So I'm just gonna add a pinch of salt and pepper. Top it all off, I just have some greens, which you could use arugula, would be really, really good on this. I just didn't have any, I just had some leftover lettuce. So I'm just gonna pop that on. Pile it high. At least I like a lot more greens than I do meat. So then I'm just gonna slide that on. I have no words. Delicious. Well, I think this little winter planter box project turned out pretty good. Obviously, there's room to play, but I love the little twinkle lights. I love how that all turned out, and I love this tree here. That just beautiful. It's got a little bit of blue to it, blue-gray. It just kind of accents it and just makes it look like a little woodland garden that is just sparkling, and I love it. I love the little stars as well. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, much success in all you do and grow, and we'll be seeing you shortly back here at Crowley House Farm and Nursery very soon. Bye-bye, guys.